A 23-year-old with a laptop and a $20 subscription just published more content in 1 week than a 12-person media team did in a month. Same quality, better engagement, zero burnout. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that she didn't work harder. She didn't hustle through the nights. She didn't hire anyone. She built one workflow, one connected sequence of AI steps that turned a single raw idea into a week's worth of content across every platform she uses. And once that workflow was running, she barely had to touch it. This is the video you learn exactly how that works. Most creators think AI is a shortcut for writing faster, and it is, but that's thinking too small. The creators quietly outproducing media teams aren't using AI as a writing tool, they're using it as a production system. There's a difference, a big one. A writing tool helps you do a task. A production system replaces the need for a team to do every task. Think about what a media team actually does. There's a strategist who decides what topics to cover and why. There's a researcher who pulls together sources, trends, and data. There's a writer who turns that into long-form content. There's an editor who sharpens it. There's a social media manager who chops it into clips, carousels, threads, captions. There's an SEO person who makes sure it gets found. And there's a scheduler who makes sure it all goes out on time. That's 6 or 7 specialized jobs. And a single creator using the right AI workflow can now replace all of them. Not perfectly, not forever, but well enough to outproduce, outpublish, and out-earn teams that cost 10 times more to run. Here's why this is possible right now, and wasn't even 18 months ago. The gap between what a large language model can do and what most people ask it to do is enormous. Researchers at Stanford and MIT have both published findings in the last 2 years showing that the majority of AI users prompt AI the same way they used Google a decade ago. One question, one answer, done. No iteration, no chaining, no system. That's like hiring a world-class chef and asking them to boil water. The workflow you're about to learn is built on a concept called chained prompting. The idea is simple. Instead of asking AI one thing and walking away, you build a sequence. Each output feeds the next prompt. Each stage of content production flows directly into the next stage. You're not working with AI, you're directing it, like a producer directing a studio. Let's walk through the workflow exactly as it runs. It starts with a single idea, not a polished idea, not a fully formed concept, just a rough direction. Something like, I want to talk about how small newsletters are growing faster than big ones right now. That's it. That's your input. Step 1 is research and angle selection. You take your rough idea and you paste it into Claude or ChatGPT with a prompt that asks the model to identify 3 to 5 specific angles on this topic that are currently underreported, counterintuitive, or emotionally resonant for a creator audience. You're not asking it to write anything yet. You're asking it to think strategically. This is the strategist role. Within seconds, you have 5 different angles to pick from. You choose one. Maybe it's the reason small newsletters are growing isn't better content, it's better trust signals. That's a strong angle. You wouldn't have found it in 5 seconds without the model. Step 2 is deep research framing. You take your chosen angle and you run it through a research prompt. You ask the model to act as a research assistant and find the 3 strongest arguments for this angle, flag any common counter-arguments you'll need to address, and suggest 2 to 3 real-world examples or data points you can verify independently. The model gives you a structured research brief, not sourced facts you can blindly trust, but a map of what to look for and how to frame the argument. You spend 10 minutes verifying the key claims it flagged. Now you have a research brief that would have taken a human 2 to 3 hours. Step 3 is long-form content generation. You take the angle and the research brief and you build your core prompt. You're asking the model to write a long-form piece, whether that's a newsletter issue, a YouTube script, a blog post, in the exact structure and voice you've predefined. This is the part most creators think is the whole workflow. It isn't. It's the middle, but because the 2 steps before it were done well, the output is dramatically sharper than what most people get when they just say, write me an article about newsletters. Step 4 is the multiplier. This is where the gap between creators and media teams really opens up. You take your finished long-form piece and you run it through a repurposing prompt. You ask the model to extract 5 tweet thread angles, 3 LinkedIn post hooks, 1 short-form video script idea, and 1 email subject line from this content, matching a voice that is direct, calm, and insight-driven. One long-form piece just became 8 pieces of content, each one native to its platform, each one traceable back to one original idea and one original research pass. Step 5 is SEO and scheduling prep. You run your long-form piece through a final prompt that generates a meta description, a primary keyword, 3 secondary keywords, and a recommended publishing time based on the topic category. You're not an SEO expert. You don't need to be. The workflow handles it. From raw idea to fully packaged content week, the active time is under 2 hours. The output would take a 6-person team the better part of 2 days. This is not hypothetical. Creators using versions of this workflow are publishing 5 to 7 pieces of content per week, growing their audiences 3 to 4 times faster than their peers, and doing it without content calendars full of stress and missed deadlines. Morning Brew grew from a dorm room newsletter to a 100-person media company in part because they systemized content production early. The workflow you're building now does the same thing, just with AI instead of headcount. Now, here's the part nobody tells you. The workflow is not the hard part. The hard part is building your voice prompt. Every stage of this workflow relies on the model knowing how you sound. Not how a generic writer sounds, not how a professional writer sounds, how you sound. The way you open sentences, the words you never use, the rhythm of your paragraphs, the things you care about. If you don't have a voice prompt, your AI output will sound like everyone else's AI output. Generic, smooth, forgettable. The creators who are quietly destroying media teams with this workflow have spent time, sometimes hours, building a voice reference document that they paste into every single content prompt. It tells the model exactly how their writing sounds, what to avoid, what phrases they use, what register they write in. That document is the real competitive advantage, not the workflow itself. The workflow is the system. The voice prompt is what makes it yours. And here's the counterintuitive insight that ties all of this together. The smaller you are, the bigger your advantage. A 12-person media team has 12 different voices, 12 different interpretations of what the brand sounds like, 12 different opinions about what to publish next. Consistency is expensive at scale. For a solo creator, consistency is free. One person, one voice, one workflow, one set of decisions. The AI handles the volume. You handle the judgment. That's the real reason small creators are outproducing media teams right now. It's not that the tools are better. It's that the tools reward the one thing small creators have that big teams can't buy: a single, clear, consistent point of view. 6 or 7 specialized jobs, one workflow, one voice, and a $20 subscription you probably already have. That 23-year-old with the laptop isn't the exception. She's just the early version of what every smart creator is going to be doing in the next 18 months. The only question is whether you're building your workflow now or watching someone else's content flood your feed while you wonder how they do it. Now you know.